Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Treen, and every week I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things intuition. Through personal stories, experiences, and practices, offering energetic reflections to help you discover, connect, and fully realize how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to July 2022. A little bit shocking. Do I say that every month? Perhaps. But this one for sure. Maybe it is just getting a little bit older, but the time is running away from me. But I'm running with it too, so dancing away with me? Maybe that's it? I'm not sure if you're feeling that way, but yeah, if you are, you are not alone. I have heard from many other people the same thing, that it's hard to believe that we're going into July already. And I wonder too if there is something to be said about focusing on developing our intuition and allowing our intuition to kind of inform and guide us to our desires and the things that we want to do, whether it is our career or a creative project. I feel as if the one part of time flying by is because we are doing things and wanting to create more things and feeling more creativity kind of being infused into many different parts of our lives, that kind of accelerates the time because there's only so much time to do all of the things that we want to do. So I did find that for myself, because before, in my lifestyle, when I was in a career that I wasn't really, or was not happy in, wasn't really, still trying to be so diplomatic about it, a career that was not for me, and I would delegate the things I wanted to do to, my 1.5 days off, or the few hours in the morning or the few hours at night. So it was more in those pockets and in the shadows of this life that I thought I had to do and had to live in order to be able to have the license and the freedom to do the things that really lit me up. And back then, time would kind of fly in more of an instant, where I couldn't really remember what was happening or what I did. Kind of like when you're driving home and you forget, or you don't remember how you got there, because it's just such an ingrained habit. But I think now, a lot of people, and especially if you're listening to this podcast, or if you subscribe to my newsletter, I know that the majority of the kind of feedback I get is that we're all doing a lot. We're all trying to figure something out, create things, and have new ideas. And that can make it kind of overwhelming to try to fit into the amount of time that we have in a day and the amount of energy. So I do feel like maybe I'm speaking about that right now because often we can feel like time flies by. So what did I even do? What did I not do? There can be a lot of judgment around not prioritizing or maximizing your time. So I offer a little perspective change on that if you need it. If time has been flying by for you, maybe just check in for a moment into your heart, just into yourself, and see if maybe time flew by because you are creating and laying the groundwork to create and act on all these new things that you want to do. These things you want to find out about yourself. These things you want to share with the world. All of that creation, all of that creative spirit that we have, it can really make it feel like we didn't do enough because there is so much that we want to do. And maybe that really is, at the beginning of July, a call for you to really see the beauty and the pride and the kind of celebration that you can offer and give to yourself around all the things that you have been, little sparks of ideas, little lights, little or big ones. Maybe it's a really big thing that you're creating and wanting to put out there, or a new change, a new leap in your life into any kind of unknown. All of that change can make time go by super quickly. And I really want to say, give yourself that compassion if you feel judgment over not doing enough. Because you are doing everything you can. I'm assuming that. But I think it's probably quite true for almost everyone. We can be really hard on ourselves. We can compare ourselves to other people. And it's always the best idea to remember what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you're doing it for, and make sure that you are actually enjoying it. And then you don't have to worry about time flying by because you know that, and I'll say personally, when I do that, I don't have to worry about time flying by and wondering where it went. Because I know often enough I checked in and made sure that my intentions were aligned with my heart and I was doing my best. So maybe give yourself a little bit of that grace as well. Well, I guess I really needed to share that. So I hope that helps you a little bit. I always think it's funny. Almost every time when I come to record, I have an idea. I tune in to my heart and I kind of do a little meditation and feel into what I want to speak about. Today is the July energy impressions to offer you a little insight and help you navigate through the month with a little bit more clarity, which is always my intention. But when I was tuning in, I didn't really even realize that that's what I was going to talk about for the last 7 minutes. So maybe another call to remind yourself, trust what you feel you want to do, even if there was a plan specifically for something else. If there's a pull, trust it. And yes, before I jump into July and the energy that we are going to be moving through, especially as listeners of this podcast, I really feel and trust that this is for us. This is not for the world. This is for us. And thank you for allowing me to share it with you. It is always an absolute honor to connect with all of you this way. I never take it for granted because I know there are so many podcasts out there and it takes a lot of time. It's a time investment to listen to a podcast. So I don't take it for granted and I hope I never do. But I don't think so. It's always quite remarkable to me that any of you listen. It's so cool. And speaking of podcasts, I'm just thinking about all of you and how great you are. So I hope that you give yourself a really nice big smile because I really do appreciate you so much. And speaking of podcasts, the most exciting thing, truly 6 months in the making, I have been so inspired to create a workshop for you to create your own podcast. But not just your average, here, build a podcast. Here's how you launch a podcast. No, I'm just so excited about it. So it is about you connecting to the podcast that you are meant to begin. For you to realize and understand whose ears are waiting to hear what you have to say. How long do you want to keep them waiting, really? So on July 20th at 5 p.m. Pacific time, it's a Wednesday, but don't worry if you can't make it live because the replay will be available. And if you do make it live, you'll have the replay forever. So this is called Share Your Voice. It's all about beginning to, or in process of, maybe expanding on, healing your fear of being seen. Figuring out where and why you carry that fear. What's holding you back from being able to really do what your heart is calling you to do. If you've thought about creating a podcast, that's not a coincidence. Not everybody wants to make podcasts, but it is a beautiful way to access our creativity, to express our authentic voice, to allow people from around the globe that you would never be able to really meet or talk to in person, for them to hear you, for them to really receive what you are meant to offer. So with Share Your Voice, we're going to work on healing your fear of being seen, connect to the true essence of the podcast you are meant to bring into the world. You'll learn how to access a little bit more clarity into where your intuitive voice lies, the unique song in your heart, while also receiving all the practical, technical tools and guidance so that you will be ready to launch your podcast. After the 2 hours, you will be ready. You will have your 4 episodes outlined. You will know, if not specifically the name, you'll know what it's about. And you'll be prepared to start sharing your voice with all the beautiful souls who are waiting to listen. Because nobody is gaining anything from you not sharing what you feel called to share. So I really hope that if you have been thinking about it and you've maybe been looking at other ones and maybe they're not really connecting or resonating, that's why I made this workshop. Because you will be guided through visualizing meditations that I guide you through to connect to your essence, to connect to your heart, to connect to what that podcast is. I'll also be guiding you through a lovely visualization where you get to leap forward 2 years and experience through your mind's eye, through your imagination, through your heart, where your podcast is in 2 years. If you did really act on your desires, who's listening? Maybe what has it spawned and inspired after you created it. So I really hope that you honor yourself and join us on July 20th because I am over the moon. I mean, it's the only way to put it. I am over the moon and so excited. And I don't know if I'll do it live again because I will have the replay for people to receive. There is a little bit of a workbook with it too. And yes, it's just truly from my heart to yours. Because when I made this podcast, I did a beautiful podcast workshop from Danielle Sarank, and hers really helped me. But there was so much more that I discovered that I needed to know to be able to really connect to my audience. So I have felt super called to create this workshop, masterclass experience, and it's so brilliant because Danielle Sarang, the Squamish medium, she's the one that did the workshop that I attended. I reached out to her team and asked, I was like, I've been feeling really inspired to create my own, but I wanted to reach out and just make sure that I'm not stepping on any toes, and really wanted to be very clear that I wasn't going to use any of her resources that she shared with us. Like, it will all be mine. And you know what? The coolest part, the most divine, and I shouldn't be surprised because this is how life can work, but the most beautiful thing happened. Yes, I was given the blessing. Of course, everybody has their own spin on things. We're excited for you to do it. That's great. But also, she actually retired her podcast class. So she's not offering the one that I did anymore, which I thought was a really interesting coincidence, kind of a divine time where that evolution of what we create, we're all kind of in it together. So thank you, Danielle Sarank. Thank you. Because without hers, I wouldn't have been able to have the confidence and the very clear resources and tools of like, oh yes, this is how you do it. Perfect. And then I wouldn't be able to be offering all that I've learned over the past year and a few months to give it to you. And I will say, when I started it, I never thought that it would be anything. I didn't really plan on what it looks like, what are the goals. I just wanted to commit to myself. I wanted to honor my inspiration. But then, beautiful things happened. I met and have and continue to meet so many beautiful people, to work with them, and also from so many parts of the world, from India to Indonesia to Russia, Australia, of course, some in New Zealand, all over the United States. Most of my downloads come from the United States, which is very surprising to me. So, yeah, you can reach people you would never even think would be interested in what you were having to say. And then I even was on the podcast charts on Apple Podcasts in Canada and Australia more than once. And I am not a public person. I'm pretty niche. So it's possible to find the people that want to hear your voice and actually are waiting. That's the thing you have to remember. There are people out there that need to hear your voice. So if that inspires you a little bit to, really recognize that, yes, you have thought about starting your own podcast. Well, I'll tell you, you can do it. I produce my own. I make all the art myself. I edit it myself. I put it up. And I'm not like some kind of technical whiz at all. Anyway, so obviously I am very excited about it. And what I wanted to offer was a discount for the listeners of Intuitive Seek. So I'll put the link in the show notes. You can also go to my Instagram and I'll have the link there too. But the code will only be for you. Only for the listeners. I'll put the code at the end of the show notes too. But your code for 20% off, so it's $88 US and 111 Canadian, and you get 20% off of that using the code SEEK, SEEK 20. So I would love to have you there. Thank you so much for continuing to be such beautiful support for this podcast, and I love being here together. It's just the coolest thing. This amazing way to connect. It's just remarkable. So now let's get into the energetic impressions for July 2022. Hoping, as I said before, that they will offer you a little bit of clarity, insight, and also spark your own intuition so that you can trust your inner guidance to help you move through the rest of the month. So when I forgive myself for saying so often. No, when I was tuning in before in meditation and really connecting inward into, okay, what do I really need to remember or understand about July, about this month that we are all experiencing together? And it was really lovely because it made me think of finding a mirror that maybe we forgot that we had, a mirror that when we wash away and clear away anything on the mirror that is keeping us from seeing whatever that mirror reflects clearly, when everything that is keeping us from seeing into that mirror, when that's removed, when that's cleared away, what are we being shown? And this month, I really feel like we have the opportunity to remember the mirror that we have, that we don't have to look outside of ourselves for that clarity, and connecting to what is that mirror. I feel like a great place to start if right away you're unsure, what is that mirror? A great place to start is to look at your body as that mirror, the quote-unquote mirror. How can you listen with kind of new ears and eyes to what your body is telling you? How can you let your body offer you clarity that you are seeking? How can you really drop back in to your physical body and allow it to tell you what you need to know? Because I will say for sure, the running theme of June, which if you remember from the energy impressions before, for June, it was really that clearing away. It was recognizing that you are standing on new earth, and where do you want to go? What else needs to be really left behind so that the earth that you're standing on is rich? But what June really did, and I felt in a lot of my work too, was that new earth that everybody was standing on really, in a beautiful cosmic riddle kind of way, made it much easier to not feel very grounded at all. To not feel embodied in your body at all. To be kind of floating and allowing your thoughts to spiral and stay in the same position, looping over and over, and allowing your head to do all the work for you. In June, I found that we were allowing, and more easily to allow our heads to pull us into different directions, or just into, our own coiled mess. So July, you don't have to be confused anymore. But what happens when we really start listening to our inner mirror, especially if it's your body, which I feel for most it will be, is sometimes you see things that you didn't see before. So there can be a little bit of grief that comes up with that. There can be a feeling of judgment of, why didn't I know that before? If only I had known that before, then I wouldn't have fill in the blank. But for July, I really hope that you can stay present, because all that time that you didn't know brought you to where you are now, so that you do know. We can't change how we got here. That was how we got here. So there's no real need to regret the course or the path that you've taken to get to this place of clarity. And not that that was the path you were meant to walk. I don't think worrying about whether you were meant to is as important as just recognizing that that is what happened, or that is how you got here. That is what you did. That is what we went through. That is just the truth of it. So in July, really try your best to receive this clarity and trust it. Because if you don't trust yourself to see clearly, how on earth are you able to get to where you want to go? And that also makes me feel like it's important to recognize this month who around you are also acting as a mirror for you. Who is helping you receive more clarity, where you only know if it is clarity because you can feel it and you trust yourself that that is for you. And it reminds me of what a mirror is. It offers us reflection. And a mirror doesn't work at all unless you have light and shadow. You need both to be able to see clearly. So really, maybe another part of this energy of July is to remember where our light is directing us, where it's offering more clarity, and where we might have also a little bit more shadow, a little bit more of those feelings about ourselves or about others that are not the most positive. Because to be able to see and feel those clearly, like anger and frustration and depression, those are real emotions. Anxiety. By trying to bypass those, to immediately squash them and change them into something else, it doesn't really move them. It makes them kind of stay where you first felt them. And maybe you've heard before some, more mainstream spiritual ideologies and pop phrases and all those things on social media of having the clear channel. Don't get into the low vibration energies, stay high vibration, because that's the only way you can connect and have, true enlightenment and so forth. And not specifically like religious, because there is, true Buddhists that have their ideology of enlightenment. This is just directed at the idea of needing to be clear in our vessel, in our channel, to have the worthiness of receiving what we want, receiving guidance and clarity. I don't think that that makes a lot of sense, because to me, the clearest that we can be is to understand all parts of ourselves, to accept all parts of ourselves, to really know that we are worthy in every aspect of our being, as long as it's true to us if we can embody ourselves in all of our light and all of our shadow, then we will always have access to supreme clarity on the choices that we need to make. Because if we have that clarity within us, we can trust that it will always be for the highest good. The highest good for you, and then in turn, the highest good of all. And the one way that I know for sure, when I don't have clarity and I'm not looking for that within myself, is when I judge and compare other people's choices, how other people are living their lives. Because that's reaching out and trying to control what is good or bad, light or dark in other people. And that's, to me, the visual of that is hiding behind your mirror, afraid of what your reflection is. And I know that if you are listening to this podcast, you should not be afraid of your reflection, because your heart is meant to be seen, especially by you. So whether the mirror that becomes more clear for you is your physical body, a deeper clarity in your intuition, maybe clarity on who around you is so supportive of you and maybe you didn't even realize, use this month, use July to really recognize the oracle within. The most powerful channel is just you. That's it. You don't need to qualify why what you say or what you do is important. It doesn't need to be coming from a higher plane or a higher vibration. If you're clear in your heart, if you know yourself and your body and your feelings and your intentions, that's the highest we could ever hope for. And that shows me deep respect for ourselves, but also for our fellow humans. And wouldn't that be an amazing world to live in if we all respected each other the same way we would want to be respected? And the way to do that, I'm seeing one way is to really know how to see clearly into our mirror, to trust our reflection. And if you don't trust it, what needs to be cleared away so that your true clarity can come? What maybe got missed in June that you can finally let go in July? And I hope that you have the most beautiful month and that you can honor those special mirrors that are completely unique to you. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Intuitive Seek. Please reach out to me with any questions, or if you wanted to share anything that may have come up for you during this episode, you can follow me or message me on my Instagram at Treenlight, TREENLIGHT, or you can check out my website, treenlight.com, TREENLIGHT. I will have all the links in the show notes for you to easily find everything, especially for my new podcast workshop, Share Your Voice, which will be on July 20th, and I'm so excited, and much more, where you can learn about all the ways that I can support you. So thank you so much for all of your support. Be kind to yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.
Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very meaningful.